In a world that is just flooded with distraction, what if you could tap into a state of mind that's basically a superpower for your career? Imagine a way to get breakthrough results while everyone else is just stuck answering emails. Well, you can. It's called deep work. And in this explainer, we're going to break down how you can make it your unfair advantage to get ahead fast.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why deep work is such a massive career advantage. Then, we'll get into the critical difference between deep and shallow work. After that, we'll explore 4 different philosophies you can adopt, the 4 rules to actually make it happen, what a day of deep work really looks like, and finally, the huge payoff that goes way beyond just productivity.
And this quote right here from author Cal Newport, it just nails the core idea. This isn't just about being a little more focused. It's about a huge shift in how our economy works. I mean, think about it. The ability to actually concentrate without distraction is becoming super scarce. And what happens when something is both rare and valuable? Well, the people who can do it, they don't just succeed, they thrive.
And let's be real, this probably feels familiar, right? We spend our days just bouncing between emails, meetings, Slack messages. It's a constant flurry of activity. But when you get to the end of the day, do you ever feel like you didn't actually move the needle on the things that truly matter for your career? Yeah, that feeling of being busy but not productive? It's a symptom of a much bigger problem in modern work.
So let's get this straight. Deep work is not just another productivity hack. In today's world, the ability to consistently focus without distraction is, and I mean this seriously, a superpower. It lets you learn really hard things really quickly and produce work at an absolutely elite level. And those are the 2 core skills you need to win.
So to use this superpower, you first have to understand the battlefield. See, pretty much every task you do falls into one of 2 buckets: deep work or shallow work. And just being able to tell the difference is the first and honestly the most important step to totally redesigning how you work.
And here's the divide, laid out perfectly. Deep work is the tough stuff, right? It's writing complex code, creating a business strategy, mastering a new skill. It stretches you, it creates real value, and frankly, it's what you get paid the big bucks for. Shallow work, well, that's the logistical stuff, answering emails, scheduling meetings, posting on social media. It feels like you're being productive, but it's not creating anything new, and honestly, almost anyone could do it. And here's the problem. Our careers are built on deep work, but our days are completely eaten up by shallow work.
Now you might be thinking, oh, I can just switch back and forth, I'm a good multitasker. Well, science would like a word with you. A professor named Sophie Leroy discovered this productivity killer called attention residue. Every single time you switch tasks, a little piece of your attention gets left behind on the old task. You are never fully focused on the new thing, which means your brain is running at a fraction of its power.
And that is the hidden cost. That quick check of your email, it is not harmless. It's like smearing your brain with this attention residue. It completely shatters your focus and makes sure you never reach that state of intense concentration you need to do your best work. You're basically choosing to make yourself less effective at the very tasks that are supposed to move your career forward.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? You can't just try harder to do deep work. You need a system, a philosophy that gives you a structure. It's about being intentional instead of just hoping your willpower shows up, because we all know that stuff runs out fast. So let's look at the options.
Okay, so here are the 4 main strategies. I like to think of them as different operating systems for your professional life. And listen, there isn't one best one. The right choice for you depends completely on your job, your personality, and just the realities of your life. So let's break them down real quick. The monastic approach is the most extreme. Think of a novelist who just goes off the grid to write. Bimodal is for people who can block off whole days or even weeks for deep dives, kind of like Carl Jung did. The rhythmic is probably the best fit for most of us in a standard job. You make deep work a non-negotiable daily habit, like going to the gym. And then there's the journalistic, for people who are so practiced they can just drop into deep work whenever they get a free hour. The point is, you have to actually pick one. So, you've picked your high-level strategy. Awesome. Now you need the tactical playbook. Cal Newport lays out 4 super specific, actionable rules that turn that philosophy into reality. This is where it gets real. These are the 4 rules, and honestly, each one is a game changer. First, work deeply. This means using rituals to make focus automatic so you're not burning willpower. Second, and this is a big one, embrace boredom. You have to retrain your brain's addiction to constant distraction. Seriously, if you can't be bored for 5 minutes, you have no chance of focusing for 2 hours. Third, Quit social media, or at least be very intentional about it, to take back your attention from companies that are literally designed to steal it. And fourth, drain the shallows by auditing and cutting out all those low-value tasks that pretend to be important.
Let's just zoom in on rule number 1 for a second. Crafting your ritual. This isn't about being all rigid and weird. It's about making it easier to start. By deciding these things in advance, where you'll work, for how long, what the rules are, and what you need to support yourself, you save all that precious willpower for the actual hard work, not for deciding how you're going to work.
So what does this all actually look like on a random Tuesday? Let's take all this theory and make it super practical by walking through a sample schedule. This is how the abstract ideas become real. Okay, this is a perfect example of that rhythmic philosophy in action. Look at the structure here. It starts with a phone-free ritual to get your mind right. Then, boom, you dive into a 90-minute block of pure, focused deep work. A real break follows, not just checking email, but like getting up and walking. Then another deep block, and see how shallow work like email is bundled together in its own little container? Nothing here is random. Every minute has a job. Now, you might look at that schedule and wonder why there are only a few deep work blocks. And this right here is why. This is a crucial insight. All the research shows that the absolute limit for this kind of intense, brain-breaking deep work is about 4 hours a day. The goal is not about working more hours. It's about the intensity of those hours. This isn't about a 12-hour grind. It's about getting 4 hours of pure, high-quality, focused effort. That's it. We've talked a lot about career and productivity, but the real benefit of deep work, it goes so much further. This is about changing your whole relationship with your work and moving from being a distracted operator to a focused craftsperson. And that's the ultimate payoff. Deep work is how you achieve craftsmanship in the modern world. It's how you build those rare and valuable skills and then use them to produce work that you are genuinely proud of. It turns your career from something that drains you into a path that's full of meaning, satisfaction, and mastery.
You know, this quote from David Brooks just perfectly captures the whole idea. Those big breakthroughs and elite performances, they don't come from random bolts of lightning. They come from a disciplined, structured, almost accountant-like focus that you apply day after day. The creativity is in the idea. The magic is in the execution. And that execution requires deep, structured work.
Ultimately, Cal Newport makes the case that a deep life is a good life. A life that's rich with focus and skill and meaningful creation. It's just so different from a life of frantic, shallow distraction. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. Are you okay with just living in the shallows? Or are you ready to start building a deep life?